Hello, Regional Christian Communicators Conference. My name is Aaliyah Royes. I am a communication researcher, and this is my presentation on the impact of short form video content on attention and information processing in communication context. So basically, how do short form videos like TikTok, Instagram Reels, even Facebook and YouTube Shorts, how does this media, which is new and up and coming, it's very modern in the workplace and just in all contexts, how is it affecting our ability to communicate and our attention spans, which affects most areas of our lives? So again, my name is Aaliyah Nelsa-Stewin. This is for my Communication 490 class with Professor Aitza Haddad due today, and I'm a student at Grand Canyon University. So the purpose of my study, I wanted to evaluate this because attention span is something that I'm interested in. I think attention span is very valuable, and I feel that it should be protected. I wanted to conduct this study, hopefully to increase the awareness of how to manage our well-being, our human well-being, especially in the workplace or in other modern institutions like schools, at really truly any place that is institutionalized. So my primary research question is, how does, of course, short form video content consumption impact attention span and information processing in communication? So I'm seeking to answer the question, what extent does the frequency, so how often we're using the content, and the duration, how long each time we use it is, of the consumption affect a person's ability to process and comprehend other information outside of the short form video content? So my method of research was a qualitative or quantitative research survey. So I made a survey asking lots of questions that pertain to this topic, and I sent it out to everyone I know. People I knew sent it out to everyone they knew. I ended up getting around 100 responses, 99 to be exact, and that is what gave me the answers I was seeking. So I found, one, most participants consume short form content every single day. Most spend between 15 and 30 minutes average daily. Most do not have a difficulty, or they feel they do not have a difficulty sustaining their focus. Most check their phones while completing tasks, and almost 50% prefer quick summaries instead of detailed explanations. So, a few more findings that I felt were relevant. Most do not prefer short message over face-to-face conversation, so that's encouraging. Almost 50% skim information rather than reading carefully. And this is information, right, instead of something interesting like a novel. Then most prefer short video summaries when learning something new. More than 50% prefer face-to-face conversation as their primary communication format. And then more than 50% believes that short-form video consumption has negatively affected their ability to focus. I found this ironic because everyone was reporting that they didn't notice a huge effect, that they don't even consume it that much, but then they do feel it has a negative effect on their ability to focus. So my overall conclusion was that people prefer quick and concise means of information communication, but they do maintain a preference for genuine human connection. This does make sense to me because I don't believe we as humans will ever give up our preference for real communication face to face. But it does make sense that people would prefer concise and quick little bits of information when it comes to information. Most people feel that their attention span has been hurt by their consumption of short form media. And I would personally say there is an association between short form media and reduced attention span, but this could still be due to other factors, such as people's personality type. Some people may prefer to read a lengthy manual about directions, and then other people might just prefer not to. They aren't as detail oriented. Okay. When I looked at research myself, this is what I found. Some research points to the idea that frequent engagement with digital media may have influence on one's cognitive processes, including processing of information and attention span. Now, this doesn't mention whether positive or negative. The next is research has also drawn associations between heavy media multitasking and differences in memory and attention capacity. Also fairly vague, not super specific. This last one says research specifically on short form video platforms points to rapid context switching as a negative influence on memory and attention. So that's when we're constantly switching between this form of news article to this TikTok that says something about that news article to, we're switching from different contexts. There's a negative impact on our memory and attention. So as far as my design and my methodology, it was a quantitative survey. The participants were about 99, aged 18 to 55 and above. It was on a Google Forms survey, and then the variables were mostly frequency of short-form video consumption, time spent engaging with short-form videos, overall difficulty focusing in general, and then perceived changes in attention over time. So, as far as the frequency of consumption, most of them watch short-form videos every single day. Time spent anywhere between 15 and 60 minutes on average. There were outliers for sure, but that was the average. Ability to focus, around 33% of people disagree about having difficulty completing tasks that require attention, while 28% do agree. Perceived effect on focus, 54.5% feel that short form media content, again, negatively affects their ability to focus. So, circling back to my thesis, I do feel the results do not sufficiently support or deny my thesis. While most people do engage in short-form media, most do not notice a harmful change in their attention span. While most people report that they believe the effects are negative, their other answers do not support this notion. So I saw a little bit of contradiction, and I think that might just be self-report bias. While the research draws a negative association, I feel the association drawn by my research personally is mostly neutral. So, of course, there are some limitations to my research. I don't have a large sample size. This data is self-reported. This is people's own opinion of how they interact with things in the world. Correlation does not equal causation. So even if there is a negative impact on attention span, that doesn't mean that it's caused by the short form media. And then when I go forward in the future to research this topic, if I do, I would like to pursue a larger sample size with more different types of people. I didn't have a question asking about the type of people that were answering my questions, but I would like to specifically target more diverse groups. I would like to decrease the limitations by conducting interviews, so that gets a more intensive and almost exhaustive, for lack of a better term, answer out of people. Conducting experimental studies may also be helpful because this may measure attention directly. And then exploring long-term effects of short-form media on individuals. So this would take my study into the long term, maybe over several months or years, to see if there is an effect with isolation just on those variables. So yeah, these are the sources that I used. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to speaking further.